If the mountain of proposed legislation is any indication, lawmakers are increasingly primed to crack down on the plastic waste that is littering roadsides, washing onto beaches and into oceans, being digested by fish, and ending up in our own bellies. In Sacramento, at least a dozen bills go after plastic pollution from a variety of angles, including reducing the amount of single-use plastics and refilling returnable beverage bottles. And in Washington, D.C., a sweeping federal proposal co-authored by Representative Alan Lowenthal, D. Long Beach, would place much of the responsibility for plastic reduction and recycling on companies that make and utilize single-use plastics. But there are obstacles, particularly opposition from business interests and a lack of consensus among lawmakers. In the past few years, we've had a breakthrough in terms of public awareness, but I don't think we quite have the political will yet, said UCLA's Daniel Coffey, a public policy researcher whose specialties include plastic pollution. Coffey compared the magnitude of the Lowenthal bill, the Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act, to the landmark Clean Water Act and Clean Air Act, but said it went beyond what Congress was likely to approve this year. Some of the state proposals, which are more incremental, are considered more likely to become law. It is no longer a question of if California will do something, but when and how it will happen, said Senator Ben Allen, D. Santa Monica, a statehouse leader on the issue who's resubmitted a key plastic pollution reduction proposal after failing to get it approved each of the past 2 years. While solutions are a source of dispute, there's little denying the extent of the problem. Some 15 million metric tons of plastic end up in the ocean globally each year, and the amount is on pace to triple by 2040, according to the United Nations. The U.S. leads the world in plastic waste, producing 42 million metric tons in 2016, 5 times what it produced just 6 years earlier, according to the journal Science Advances. Increasingly, that waste is ending up in landfills, and in the ocean, as overseas markets for recyclables have dried up. Less than 15% of California's single-use plastics, and just 8% nationwide, are now recycled, while environmentalists clamor for stricter laws and polls show widespread public concern. California has taken several high-profile but modest steps toward addressing the waste. In 2016, voters ratified a ban on single-use plastic takeout bags, and 2 years later the legislature approved restrictions on single-use plastic straws. Last year, California became the first state to pass a law that requires plastic bottles be made with at least 15% recycled content, a standard that will be increased to 50% by 2030. Additionally, a handful of coastal cities, including Long Beach and Santa Monica, have approved restrictions on single-use plastic utensils and containers.